to tonight's live. My name is Lunta Di La Paulo. I'm excited to be here with you to talk about 7 essential steps you need to consider if you're going to be able to sell your business in 2025 and get exactly what you want. And my goal today is really simple. I want to be able to help you achieve essentially two things, two primary things indeed. Number one, I want to teach you about what do you need to do today to actually be able to prepare your company and get it sold when you want and get the price you want under the terms that you want. Okay. Many business owners have a hard time getting their businesses sold. And that's not a mistake. That's not a random accident. That's actually because most business owners either they aren't prepared themselves to get their businesses sold, or the business itself is not prepared in a way that would command the attention in the marketplace to get it sold. So my goal today is to help you figure out what does it actually take for you to prepare your business so that it's ready to be marketed and attract enough buyers to get it sold. Okay, that's gonna be my goal number one, and my goal number two, it's gonna be to show you, to teach you what that selling process looks like. Okay, the time you begin preparing your business for sale to the closing table, what is that process looks like, what you should expect. Because if you don't understand that it's a time commitment, it's a journey, it's a marathon and not a sprint, you might be rushing, you might be making prejudgment and be disappointed with the result. So my hope today is to really help you understand what is that process looks like, what is that journey is going to look like for you, and how do you prepare your business to actually be optimized in a way that will yield you the best possible results. Okay, so I'm gonna be sharing here my screen, and I hope you're able to see my screen. And before we jump into any greater detail, just a quick background about me. I'm a CPA and M&A advisor today. And essentially, in our practice, Yet Accounting and Tax PLLC, we help business owners optimize their businesses in a way that allows them to save money on taxes, have great financial reporting system that allows them to have critical information at their fingertips so that they can make impactful decisions and prepare their business for their exit, right? How do you build a business that allows you to decide how you want to exit and get the terms, the price, and the timeline that you want when you actually exit? So that's essentially what my goal is with our firm. And today, I want to share with you a little bit about what we have been seeing in the marketplace, the mistake we have been seeing a lot of business owners making. And by the way, if you are wondering whether this presentation today is right for you, I just want to tell you what type of people that I had in mind when I was designing this presentation. Okay. Number one, I want to talk to people who are, hey, I am ready to leave. I want to sell my business. And by the way, I had a call with a business owner just a couple days ago, and they shared with us that they wanted to sell their company in within 1 or 2 months. And I sensed, even though they didn't disclose it, that they were in a very challenging life position, and they needed to exit as quick as possible. And to be honest with you, as I was with them, I told them that it was virtually impossible to get a business sold in less than 2 months. I didn't know enough about the business to make that type of promise. Even if I knew uh, enough about the business, right? I am not gonna be the person who determines how the marketplace is actually gonna be moving, how what the response is going to look like. So if you're a business owner looking to exit maybe in the next 12 months or so, this presentation is going to be good for you because it's going to give you insights around what can you do from today forward to actually get your business ready for an exit. Okay, so That's gonna be number one, right? And what that selling process is gonna look like for you, so that you can be ready and prepared for that exit. Okay. And business owners number two that I'm gonna be talking to today is about business owners who are who just want a little bit more out of life. Maybe they don't want to sell, but they want to begin preparing their business for a foreseeable sell. Okay, for a foreseeable sell. And the third type of business owner that I want to spend time talking with today are business owners who still have a little bit of time, maybe 5 to 10 years down the road, and they want to build a legacy. They want to build a business that will allow them to exit under their own terms, under their own time, under their own possibly price as well, right? And we're going to give you insights around how do you actually navigate that process. How do you build a business having in mind what a potential business buyer looks for, so that you can simply do a reverse engineer on that, right? And the last type of business owners that I speak with today are the probably the large group of business owners who contact us, who we speak with almost every single day, right? Those are business owners who aren't ready for an exit, and their business is either ready for an exit. Okay. And they are scrambling to figure out what my life is going to look like, what's the next step forward for me, and can you help me to get my house in order. Okay, so we're gonna be spending a little bit of time around that. So but before we jump into the how, let's talk about the why. Why now? Why do you want to exit now? Or why do you think that you'll be exiting, right? We know, based on our experience and research in the marketplace, many people decide to exit. And by the way, when I say exit, right, there are several ways of exit, but largely we can think about an exit in terms of number one, passing the business to the next generation, your children, your sons and daughters, okay, or a relative. Or you can sell a business to the people who work for you, or to outside parties, people who are not insider of your business, right? And the question is, why do you want to exit? Very often we have had business owners seeking to exit because they were healed, or they were preparing to go through major surgery, and there wasn't any successor in place. And other times because a business owner died and the relative didn't want to keep the business, and they wanted to get rid of the business. And occasionally because somebody was bored and no longer had an interest in running the business. And 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 in few other cases, we actually had situations where somebody was undergoing through a divorce, a separation, or a breakup among partners. And that's just the nature of life. And more recently we've been seeing business owners looking to go into retirement, and therefore they need to they feel like it's a good time for them to exit. And as you think about your why do you want to exit, you really need to have that very crystal clear in your mind. Because if you don't understand why you want to exit, right, you'll probably end up making up the statistics of over 75 business owners who exit their business, who sell their business, lead a very dissatisfied life. Because guess what happens for a lot of us business owners, right? We spend a great part of our life invested in our businesses. It gives us a sense of purpose. It gives us a sense of drive. It gives us a direction in life. And when we're no longer involved running the business, right, in a way, some of us can feel empty, can feel unfulfilled, can feel directless. Therefore it's important to understand your why, right? Simon Sinek talks a lot about finding your why, and I believe it's really critical even in situations of exit planning. And once you have that why figure it out, you need to figure out what's gonna happen, right? What will you be doing, what's next for you when you exit, right? Assuming that you are not gonna be dead, or something not ideal, not good is happening with your health, with your body. So I want to make sure that you are thinking about that, you are articulating these kind of situations, challenges, and difficulties. Because if you don't occupy your time enough into productive activity after you exit, right? Your life might be less pleasant, and your exit might not yield you the outcomes that you wanted it to give you. So it's very important that you keep that in mind and you pay significant attention. So I will encourage you after this call to spend a little bit of time to think about this question. And last but not least, is to think about how much money do you actually need or do you expect to get when you sell the business, right? But here's what one thing that I want to stress out, that I want to bring to our attention. The amount of money that we need for our retirement is not equal to the amount of money that our business is worth for a third party or a potential buyer. Very important to keep in mind. My personal financial needs are not equal to the valuation of my business. So if I need, let's say, $5 million to go into retirement because I wasn't able to uh, put a lot of money into my retirement savings, then I need to really have a very hard look into my own business. I have to be very realistic, very pragmatic around what's the true value of my business. And by the way, we offer valuation services to help you have a sense of what a potential buyer, a pragmatic buyer, could be willing to pay for your business. So once you have that piece of information, right, on one end, you have the value of your business in its current state. And on the other end, you have the desired financial outcome you want, excuse me. So, as I said, if you need $5 million for your retirement, and on this hand, your business is only valued potentially at 2.5 to $3 million, then we see a potential gap of about 2.5 to $2 million. The question becomes, how do I close this gap, right? What can I do in my business today to increase its value so that in the foreseeable future, in 2, 3 years, when I go selling the business, I actually get the money that I need for my retirement? So very important question to keep in mind there. So I really want to encourage you, as a business owner, as a businessman, businesswoman, you really need to have a hard time, a hard look, and think about these questions really pragmatically. Okay, you have to to put the emotions aside, and if you need our help, we're here to help you. We're here to give you that unbiased perspective, to give you that sounding board, free of judgment, but to help you see things very clear. Probably not the same way you are thinking about currently. So, with that in mind, now it's a really good time to begin thinking about how do you prepare your business. But before we do that, I just want to let you know that I have written an ebook covering 7 exit mistakes that we've seen business owners making that cost them a fortune. If you want a free copy of that, just send us a text message, send us an email, and we're gonna be able to provide you that ebook for free. Okay, and I'm gonna be sharing my email at the end of this webinar so that you can reach out to us if you have any questions. Okay, so let's start looking at the preparation. Oh, before we do that, let's quickly talk about some of the misconceptions, some of the myths that we hear very often business owners coming up with. Okay, so here's what we see as the emperor is naked around business exit, whether you're gonna sell the company or pass it to the next generation. We've seen business owners telling us, hey, I don't need to plan for my exit because my son or my daughter will take over the business. And guess what? Very often, more often than not, unfortunately, this son, this daughter that the business owner is banking on to take over the business decides to move to a different state, decides that the business is not what they want to do the rest of their lives. And the business owner, the businessman or woman is left with the business on hand without knowing what to do with it next, right? And they start scrambling to find a solution for it. A similar situation is exactly with counting on a potential employee to take over the business. Last month, towards the end of January, right? I had a call with a businesswoman in Florida. They run a local IT service and they had a long tenure employee, and that employee was expected to take over the business to continue the legacy in the community. Guess what? That employee decided to retire sooner than the other was expecting, right? So things like that happen. The other myth that we often hear, among many, by the way, is that I can sell my business whenever I want, right? Nothing is more incorrect than that, because a business sell is not like going to the store and buying a cell phone. It's not like buying a piece of real estate. It's none of this, right? A business sell is a very complex transaction that involves a lot of professionals, that involve significant due diligence, unless you want to do it in the worst possible way and get the worst possible outcomes. Okay, but if you want to do it right and get optimal solutions and outcome, you really need to follow the process. And by the way, we're going to go through some of the elements of the process tonight. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that you are aware of these biases, okay, these emperor is naked situations, so that you don't fall in the same type of thinking, same type of fallacies. Okay, my goal is to help you avoid these kind of mistakes. So let's talk a little bit about what type of times or what kind of situation is undesirable for exit. And undesirable because they will cost you a fortune. Okay, they will cost you a fortune. It's not ideal to try to exit when you are under a family emergency. Maybe a health, you yourself have a healthcare situation, or somebody you love is undergoing a major healthcare situation. Okay, that's not a good time to try to sell. When you're going through a divorce is a bad time to sell. When you're looking to move into a different state, you are uh, essentially putting yourself into the categories of what, you know, in the market is considered a motivated seller, right? But in other words, a motivated seller is just a nicer way of saying this is a great opportunity for us to take advantage. And as somebody who is looking out for the best interest of business owners, okay, business sellers, it's my job to protect you, to help you avoid being in those kind of situations. I've seen business owners saying, I'll never sell, to be suddenly hit with a major life situation, and they start thinking about selling the business, and the business is not ready for sale, and therefore they end up selling at a fraction of what they could have received if they just took the time to plan about the possibility of selling, even though selling is not on their order of priorities. Okay, even if you're not gonna sell, my friend, I still encourage you to plan for various scenarios and prepare for them, so that you can get the best possible outcomes in the event anything out of your control takes place. So the second thing you need to avoid doing in terms of your exit is trying to sell the business when the business is at decline. We had a call recently with another businessman in Florida, if I recall correctly, and they are in the jewelry business. And their business for the past 20 years did a little over $1 million in revenue, and over $300 to $400 in net income. The past 3 4 years, that business has been below $800,000 in revenue and below 100 excuse me below 200,000 in profit. What do you think it's going to happen if the business owner decides to sell this company, right? They're probably going to be getting almost half of what they could have sold the company at its peak, right? So an ideal situation would be to look at the business and figure out a way to go back to the days of glory so that they can get the best possible valuation. Okay, so another situations that you absolutely need to avoid in terms of trying to sell the company is when the economy is bad, when we are in a recession, when the economy is changing into a different cycle that is not necessarily ideal for your industry. So we gotta pay attention to that, because if we're not keeping track of this kind of situation, we might be left with completely bad situation. I know I only have about 8 more minutes here, but I'm gonna begin talking about the preparation, and then next week when we go in, we go live again, we're gonna cover the transaction piece. Okay, we are in the midst of the tax season, so give us a little bit of your patience. Unfortunately, we can't go through the 55 slides today. I only have about 8 more minutes just to give you the preparation piece. So let's look at preparing your business. Okay, what do you need to do? Where do you begin to prepare your business? Okay, I always remind business owners, okay, if you're gonna think about preparing your business, you need to think about preparing the business for what or for whom, right? If you're planning, right, the way we work, we create an exit plan that accounts for various scenarios, whether you're gonna leave it to loved ones, or you're gonna sell it to insiders, or you're gonna sell it to outsiders. Okay, so based on that, we develop an exit plan and go implementing it based on what we agree with the business owner. So if you're going to start preparing the business, right, you need to realize, you need to figure out who are you preparing the business for, right? And for our conversation today, I am speaking as if you were going to prepare your business to sell to outside parties or insiders. Okay, so for that, you need to have a business that is profitable, that is cash flow positive, that has reliable and good business systems and processes, and a very good succession plan in place. And by succession, I mean strong management team that can execute on your mission with or without you. Okay, I just want to make that clear for all of us. And here's some of the things that we know that makes businesses not easy to transfer or to sell. Things like businesses that are located in really remote areas, remote geographies with difficult access by clients or vendors or even potential new owners. Businesses located in markets in geography with a shrinking talent pool. I've heard business owners saying, hey, our management teams on average have 30 plus years in experience. The question is not about the number of years of experience you have or your management team has, but whether there is a succession in place. You can't sell a business where the entire management team is going into retirement. You cannot sell a business that key people are going to leave once you exit, or they're just waiting for an opportunity to leave, and they are not leaving you because they like you, they like your family, you treat each other like family, and they cannot wait for an opportunity to jump off the ship, right? So very important for you to have people you're training a line of succession. Because if you're not doing that, right, your business becomes a tough beast to tackle, right? So you want to make sure that your business is profitable. So let's look around some of the key financials or numbers that absolutely you need to have in place. Your revenue needs to have very low concentration. When I say concentration, I mean one single customer or a group of customer cannot generate most of the revenue for your business. We've seen businesses that two clients take over 40% of revenue. That's a very risky proposition, right? So you need to have a diversified client base that each client should not be having more than 10% of your revenue. We like to see less than 5%, right? To minimize the risk. To minimize the risk, you always have to think about, okay, if I was going to be looking for a business to acquire, what would be the things that would make me uncomfortable? Do I have these things in my business? If yes, I must address them today, not tomorrow. But the problem is, a lot of us business owners are caught up into the running of the company that we don't have time enough to think about the business, to look at it as a third independent person, right? To really critically judge the business on its own merits and see if it stands the test of longevity or continuity. Okay, so very important to look at that. Of course, we look into many other items, but here's another thing that I want to bring to our attention. You got to have some form of budget, operating budget, especially if you are in a highly regulated space. Okay, your balance sheet needs to be clean. A business without a clean balance sheet is just a call for more scrutiny. Okay, you have to have, I'm trying to rush here because I only have 2 minutes now. You have to have a business focus, a clear strategy, products that are not in decline, right? You have to have a business that still have at least another 15 years down the road, okay, to survive, opportunity to grow. Your business shouldn't be in an industry that is dying. If it's dying, then we have to think about potential restructuring, working on your strategy on how to revive the business. Okay. So that's a little bit about where we begin our gap analysis. Just to conclude here, right? You gotta have some of the core processes in your business: finance function, accounting and reporting function, business development, sales, marketing, very well structured processes, human resources, talent acquisition, right? Operations management, and admin functions. If you do that, you are on your way to being on your way to building versus very incredible business. But I think this is probably a good place for us to pause, and we're gonna pick up on this next week. But before I do that, let me share with you our contact information in case you need help from us. So if you want to contact us, you can reach out to us at welcome@yetoadvisory.com, or you can send us a text message at 773-937-1264. Again, my name is Lunta Di La Paulo. I was so excited and happy to finally be able to speak with you tonight. And we're here to help you if we can be of any help. And next week, I look forward to meeting with to connecting again, to continuing our conversation around 7 essential steps you need to build a business that actually can be sold and getting what you want. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you, and I'll see you